Field of 68 After Dark.
Hello again. Welcome in to Field of 68 After Dark. If you think you saw this intro before right now, no, you didn't. Welcome into the show on Monday, November the 10th. And maybe it was a light night in college basketball, but we got some heavy hitters here on the show. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by my Tar Heel brothers, John Henson, Tyler Hansbrough, the professor. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Doing well, man.
It's a great night.
It's a great night. Absolutely. I would say maybe two, possibly three games that I would call meaningful, that matter in terms of probably the national conversation. We also have a snippet of a longer form interview with Michigan big man UAB transfer Yaxel Lendeborg that we'll get to a little bit later. And it's also Overreaction Monday. So you guys sent in a bunch of tweets. Overreactions, not overreactions. We'll score those in the next segment. So lots to get to on the show today. But let's start with the ranked team. It's not a ranked matchup, but it sort of felt like a quasi, ranked game. Iowa State beats Mississippi State 96-80 in South Dakota at the Pentagon. And it was really – it was over as soon as the game started, John. Iowa State jumped on Mississippi State, and that was really all she wrote. And I think the truth here is if Iowa State scores 96, like they're probably beating damn near everybody.
Yeah, they kind of look like a well-oiled machine. They've had some retention, obviously with players they had before. Mississippi State got into that game of throwing the ball around, turning it over, and Iowa State kind of jumped. I remember when I was watching the game, it was like a 6 or 8 point game. I said, "Oh, Iowa State's about to run away with this." Lipsey looks like an All-American. Momcilovic, I saw the coach told him to shoot 10 threes a game. Jefferson, even the young fella Torrey looked really good. So, they're right kind of where we thought they would be. Don't know if they have the level of talent per se that they've had in the past, but Iowa State, if they can score 96 points and the way they defend, I see that they're still top three. It's early, but they're top three in KenPom in defending at the moment. So just a good win by a really good team, well-coached team, disciplined team. In South Dakota, I actually played on that court at a preseason game. I know they're ready to get out of there. So a good win by them.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, you could obviously tell you didn't have many folks from Starkville in that one, bro. That's a long trip. Tyler, this is
really
this is an Iowa State team that it's kind of been the narrative with them is they haven't been healthy. They've had the pieces, but last year it felt like those pieces never saw the court enough together. And look, some names have changed, some faces have changed, but Lipsey looked great tonight. How far can this Iowa State team go if their pieces stay on the court?
I think definitely they could contend maybe for an Elite Eight, possibly sneak into the Final Four. The reason I say that is because they have a lot of returners coming back. I think 4 of their 5 starters came back to school, and the Lipsey kid, he's a proven player, and also their style. When I was watching the game tonight, I really felt like Iowa State controlled the game from the tip, even though, they didn't really break it open and get a substantial lead until probably late in the first. But you knew it was coming. And the one big stat I see is they force Mississippi State into 26 turnovers. When you can do that and you can win ugly and you can get out and run, you're going to win games. And there's one other player that came in off the bench for Iowa State that really impressed me is Dominique Nelson. I really haven't seen much of him. He came in off the bench, athletic guard that can just get up and down the court, and his transition from defense to offense, the way he runs the court was unbelievable. Athletic, got out and had some easy buckets. But, I was very impressed with Iowa State tonight.
Yeah, so, obviously, Houston exists, in the Big 12. Kansas exists in the Big 12. There's obviously a lot of stiff competition at the top, John. But if you're just sort of looking at the landscape for Iowa State, it's like, Is it a top 3 finish? Like, is it possibly contending to win? It's November the 10th. We kind of do this sometimes. Like we're when we do these nightly shows, like we're forced to, we're just here in this moment, and 2 weeks from now, like you guys know how it goes in college basketball. These teams could look completely different and they could have shit the bed by the end of the month. But in this moment, what feels reasonable for Iowa State, in that league?
I think top 3. I mean, when you look at the teams kind of sitting there, I mean, Houston's someone obviously going to have to contend with, but I look at them as like a team that we love early. We always love early and they kind of falter towards the end of the season, and then we kind of say, "Oh, they're going to be fine," and they finish strong. But I remember the last couple of years we were talking about Iowa State being dark horse Final Four team. So I still think they have that type of potential, but they got to see it through. At some point they got to take that next step and become that elite team throughout the season that we believe they could be with the defense. And I think with the squad they have here, follow some continuity and offensive firepower they have. Lipsy looks really healthy. I think this is the year for them to contend with a Houston and potentially finish in the top 2, if not 1, of the Big 12.
Yeah, Tyler, obviously, we are in a, college basketball world where, I mean, it's just really no matter who you are, you're going to have to face turnover. You're going to have to face, getting hit with the transfer portal. But, I just wonder how valuable it is to retain somebody like Lipsy, from year to year at that position specifically. Like, how much of an edge do you think that gives Iowa State? The fact that, they brought their point guard back and he's been in that program for so long.
Yeah, when you can retain players, it makes a huge difference. You look at Purdue; they retained a lot of guys. And when you talk about where can Iowa State finish in the Big 12, they could win it. I mean, to me right now, they're second behind Houston. And you mentioned Kansas. I just saw Kansas play. I don't think Kansas is the powerhouse that we know Kansas to be, and I think they're very vulnerable. They have some guys and they have some potential, but they're not the dominant team of the years prior. But Iowa State, they have some veterans. They have a style. They know how to play, and I think there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, I think like when you sort of assess like elite teams, like my personal barometer is like, can you beat Houston? Like whether you're in the Big 12 or not, right? Like if you can beat Houston, you got to change, and they did in the Big 12 tournament, for the whole thing a couple of years ago. Now Houston was banged up, and maybe they didn't take it as seriously. But I just feel like Houston is just one of those teams where it's like, and obviously we have a long way to go before we get into the conference play. But it's like that's a team where you're gonna find out, you know what I'm saying, when you play Houston, what you're about, bro. Like there's no hiding from that physicality. So I think this is, and obviously some people from that Iowa State team that won that have moved on, but still a lot of pieces that are back. So I thought it was a really impressive win, for Iowa State and a quote unquote neutral. So it'll be fun to sort of watch them, as the season goes on. A couple of other games around the country tonight. UConn basketball was in action against Columbia, 89-62 against Columbia. They moved to 3-0. John, from what you've seen of this UConn team, again, we were talking about returners, and Alex Caravan is back. Solo Ball is back. Terry Reed is back. Like this just feels like maybe, I don't have every national media guy's Twitter notifications on, but it feels like this is maybe a team that's not getting talked about all that much, and they're handling business with guys that are coming back.
Yeah, I'm not on UConn train. I watched the game today. If I'm preparing for UConn, I'm not super like worried about Caravan and Reed and Solo Ball kind of coming in the building and turning things up on me. I mean, they're going to be a good team. I think they're ranked 3. They're number 3 right now, right?
Yeah, they're third in the country. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little high for me, but going to be a really good team. Dan Hurley seemed a little calmer tonight. I don't know if that was just because of who they were playing or just how they were playing. You wonder if that message is resonating with his guys, that MF or berate you type coaching style, which I grew up with. So, it's not a problem, but it's a new age. So I wonder how that is going to translate throughout the year. But
it's early, bro. It's November 10th.
Team.
You got to give them at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I say, it's early, so you wonder how that's going to go throughout the flow of the season, per se. But right now they look like a good team. But I'm not worried. I'm just not.
So you're a
Carabin
UConn,
solo
you're a
ball.
UConn hater all the way. Like
I see Carabin solo ball and Terrence Reed on the scouting report. I'm sitting in scout. We got this. We can do something with this, fellas.
I will say is like, Alex, you're supposed to be in the league right now, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only thing. It's like you were a guy that was, lottery at one point.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's not a guy I'm just like, oh my God, like, he's their guy. I mean, he makes some good plays, but if he's your guy, I think we'll live.
Do you share John's UConn skepticism, Tyler, professor?
Absolutely not. When I think of UConn, I think of a contender. And all three of these guys, Terrence Reed, solo ball, Alex Carabin, they have championship pedigree. And also Dan Hurley's more motivated this year after what they went through last year. Disappointing season, didn't meet expectations. And I think Terrence Reed in particular is due for a breakout year. I think he's he's played behind a lot of good bigs as well at UConn, and I think he has a lot of potential that a lot of people haven't seen yet. So I'm looking forward to watching Terrence Reed, and I think they could be a Final Four team when it's all said and done.
I lean more toward Tyler, just for the record on this one. I mean, they were very close to beating Florida, in the tournament. I mean, they were leading late in that game. Obviously, Florida went on to win the national championship, and a lot of those guys are back. So we shall see. But they didn't cover tonight. They didn't cover. They won. They didn't cover. These things matter.
These things matter.
Come back. Overreaction Monday is next. We'll get to those tweets and more. You're watching Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, presented by our friends at BetMGM. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by John Henson, Tyler Hansbrough. It's Overreaction Monday, and the way this works is you guys send us tweets. Some make the cut. Our panel, picks the best ones, and they ask us to react and see, is this tweet, is the statement an overreaction? So let's get to it. I mean, I got the perfect guys to ask. Here's the first one off the rip. North Carolina is a top 10 team with Seth Trimble healthy. Tyler, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're a top 10 team, and I'm basing that off of what they did against Kansas. And it's not necessarily based on whether Seth Trimble's in or out. I just think Caleb Wilson is a special talent, and I think he's just going to get better and better as the year goes on. Obviously, Seth Trimble being out and hurt definitely hurts his team because in my mind, I view him as a leader. I think he's a more veteran player. And whenever you have the young guys mixed with the veteran player, I think it's a great combination to have somebody help guide you through the season and, help the young guys along the way. But also I do believe in some of our backups. This is one of the deeper Carolina teams, and I think Derek Dixon is going to come in and play some big minutes once Seth Trimble's out.
Mr. Henson?
I am going to concur with my fellow Tar Heel. This is definitely a top 10 team. I like how the pieces fit together. Seth hurts us for sure from a leadership standpoint. And when I think about when I was a freshman, I looked at the upperclassmen for their energy, what they were doing on a daily basis. So they're going to miss that from Seth, just knowing what to do, being in the system, being around Coach Davis, and having that kind of stoic feel that comforts the team. But they've got some guards that we're going to get to see what they can do. Derek Dixon is a guy who I thought would play more, actually, so he's going to get an opportunity to step in there. We've got shooters coming off the bench in the guard spot. I'd be more worried if a big guy, one of our bigs, was injured than our guards. But right now, with Seth Trimble healthy, for sure top 10. Even without him healthy, I think Carolina can hold on and creep around that top 10 range and hopefully get Seth back in time enough for them to make a run.
By the way, did you move? You have a new setup this year, or is this like one of your?
I got a new setup, man.
Houses?
You know what I'm saying? I moved a little closer to the action. You know what I'm saying? I was a little too far out, man. I don't like driving too far.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there you go.
If you fly to Tampa, pull up on me. I'm 5 minutes from the airport.
Okay. Yeah. Noted, man. All right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, they have a top 10 budget, right? I mean, I assume North Carolina has a top 10 NIL budget. So, I mean, I think they should be a top 10 team. That's just kind of the way it works these days. All right, moving right along. Alabama, the Crimson. This is basketball we're talking about, by the way. Alabama has the best backcourt in the nation. Tyler, coming right back to you.
I would say so. And the big reason I say that, I think Philon, he's going to have a great year. I think he's really proven himself. I really think he's one of those guys that can really penetrate, draw the defense in, and kick it out to those open shooters that Alabama has. And also, he wasn't expected to do much in the years prior because Mark Sears, dominated the ball, and he was their go-to guy late in the games. I think Philon's going to have a big year. And also Aiden Holloway. Aiden Holloway is a guy who's athletic, even though he's not the tallest guy. I think he's much longer than what his height says. And I've seen him improve. And also he can get out and put a lot of pressure on guys and defensively really make things tough for other players. And once he gets that ball, he makes that transition. Offensively, he can take people off the dribble. He can score. I think he's going to have a big year as well.
I'm top 5 in all of them. Philon. That's my go-to. That's my go-to. John, do you again concur with your Tar Heel teammate here?
I mean, listen, I think I watched them in Syracuse. I think they're the best backcourt in the country. I don't want to say it's not close, but you got 3 dynamic guards that can dribble, pass, and shoot and have toughness. That's a formula for a national championship. UConn, Florida, Baylor. Remember those teams? They had 3 guards that were tough as nails. They carved up the best defense money can buy. Think about that in the Garden. Like when I watch that game, they're tough, they're shifty. Rick Pitino defense shredded them. Philon's already talking shit. Like, listen, that dog. I was enjoying that, man. So that's old school basketball right there. We don't see that anymore a lot. So I think this sky's the limit for this team. With those 3 guards, man, like I said, you watch what St. John's does defensively throughout the year. It's going to make you appreciate that performance even more. I'm definitely that's not an overreaction.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember. I mean, LeBaron Philon was going to the draft. I mean, he had a good combine. Like everybody expected him to stay in the draft, and then I believe it was of all people, the Alabama NIL that announced that he was coming back to the Crimson Tide. And that dude is he is electrifying to watch play basketball. Like he had that flow game going against. I mean, he was in his bag against St. John's, man. I love this kid.
Popping off
again, yeah.
Love it.
And you're right.
Loved it.
Shifty is the word. Like his
Yeah.
quick twitch. Like, how do you stay in front of that kid? And then again, to lose Mark Sears and come back with the same style, we'll see if it's better. We'll see if they end up being a better team. But I mean, credit to Nate Oates for for doing this again, because that's a very difficult thing to do. So that is a fun team, no question about it. All right, moving right along here on Overreaction Monday. I don't know why someone would say this. Syracuse is making the Elite Eight. Tyler.
Hell no. No, and that's not a knock on Syracuse. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. This is a very optimistic question. Listen, we need to gauge their play off a little better competition, first of all. And second of all, they need to play consistent defense. Last year, that was a big struggle for them. I think they're one of the worst defensive teams in the country, and they dealt with a lot of injuries. But with that said, Donnie Freeman is a very good player, versatile, athletic, big. He has potential. JJ Starling, he can play if he's healthy. And Carmelo Anthony's son, Kyan Anthony's been playing well lately. So they have some pieces, but are they Elite Eight team? No, they need to make the tournament before we start talking about Elite Eight Final Four.
Yeah. John?
I don't think it could have been said better. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I mean, they usually they have the talent. I actually called a couple of Syracuse games, so I got to see the program kind of from an inside perspective. They've got to have the coaching and the discipline needs to pick up as far as just as a team. And like Tyler said, they've got to make the tournament. And I don't know I know Starling was hurt. I don't know if he's still out or not. But that's obviously a big deal. Kyan looks really good, looks really comfortable, looks like a really good college player. But yeah, they've got to finish, top 5, top 6 in the ACC before we start talking about Elite Eight runs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a program where it's like, come on, what has happened? I mean, I know Jim Boeheim retires. That's probably the biggest piece of it, and it's never easy to, replace. He was the program, but that program is way too proud and has way too much passion in the fan base to be as down as it is right now. So I would like to see them get back. I mean, they fill that place out like, Carmelo's kid. I mean, that's, I know we all feel old as shit, but, I would definitely like to see them, back to relevance. But I think Tyler's right. Like, let's start with being relevant again before we start talking about second weekends here. It's been 5 years, man. It's 5 years to make the tournament. So let's start there. All right, moving right along. Illinois has the best offense in the country. Obviously, huge game tomorrow night against Texas Tech. Tyler.
Is it the best offense? No, not really. I think Alabama. I think their backcourt is a little bit better, and I think that outweighs all their offensive tools. But I will say, what Illinois did is they went out and they got a bunch of overseas guys that are versatile players that have some size and they can play almost every position. I think they have a lot of different scoring options, and I do like the addition of Stojakovic. I saw him at Cal, a little bit at Stanford. He can go, and if he gets hot, he can light you up. Boswell had a big night the other night, going for 31. He's playing more confident, and you saw him play better and better as the year went on last year, and especially towards the end of the year. I really felt like he was a huge difference maker for their team. But Visick as well, inside out big. I think he can light you up if he gets hot. But to me, they just have a lot of players. They can play multiple positions, and they have a lot of different weapons. Are they the best offense in the country? No.
Where you at on it, John?
I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle. I don't think they're the best offense in the country, but I don't think it's an overreaction. Number 2 offensive rate team in KenPom for now. Brad Underwood is just sold out on American guys. He said Europeans play the game better. They pass them more. They understand concepts. And he's proven it right. They have a high-level offense, at least on paper, in the ratings in the last few games. So I think that it's not an overreaction. May not be the best in the country, but I don't think they're overreacting. They've got some European guys that know how to play the game. Brad Underwood is over the American guys, and his formula seems to be working right now.
What's so funny, man? I mean, what's so funny about the Americans?
He said it. He's like, listen, man, the European guys, they understand. They play the game together. They pass better. They shoot better. They understand. He said it. He's like, look, man, I don't know. Like, I that's why I got these guys on my team, and that experiment seems to be working at least early.
Yeah.
Now, look, when you get in them trenches, right, and you go play against some of them boys down there, we're gonna see. But for now, it looks good. It looks sexy out there, ball movement. But you do need some dogs. And I'm not saying that Europeans aren't dogs. Don't kill me. But you need some junkyard dogs down there as well. Americans got a little bit of more of a little more fight in them too. So we'll see what happens down the stretch when these games it comes a time to really get after it and grind in those trenches.
Yeah, I just wonder, Tyler, like while we're on the subject of the way Illinois has built their team and the reliance on, imports, right? No tariffs. You look at what Virginia Tech has done with Neo. Like they brought in Neo and he looked like a man amongst boys. And I just wonder, like in the back of my mind, right? Like I'm in Memphis, and every time Memphis and this could be a program specific thing, but every time they brought in a guy from overseas, like it's just never panned out. Like he never got on the court, like he ended up transferring or going back home, whatever. Do you think, Tyler, that this is a trend that will become more popular around, maybe it already has, but do you think it's a trend that will be sustainable and more coaches will try to follow it with, overseas guys?
I think teams that are struggling to really get, top tier high school talent or to really maximize the portal, I think they're going to go overseas because one, I feel like a lot of coaches think they can find some hidden gems, but also there is a theory amongst coaches that, the Europeans play more of a, sophisticated or a smarter style of basketball where the coaches, there's more, there's more control from the coaches, and there's, the Europeans, they think that they have a better skill set. I'm not a big believer in that. I think that, I'm with John. I think you got to have a guy that can mix it up, that's athletic, that will bang down low. And I don't see that from many Europeans. And I know, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, I think you have a good mixture. But also, I do see a lot more college coaches going overseas and trying to find some of these guys. We did it with Luka Bakovac, or I probably pronounced his name wrong, but we have Luka on our team this year.
I like it.
Hey, listen, ask Ja Morant how European style coaching is going.
Man,
he's not too happy, huh?
I've been sworn to secrecy. I was told not to speak on that, bro.
Okay.
But no, I mean that was the whole thing. It was like, hey, I'm coming in with this European style, and it's like, dude, shove that up your ass. Like it's not what I want to. So it's interesting. It's just an interesting clash that's happening right now, and we'll see if it becomes pervasive in college basketball. I have my doubts, but Illinois, it seems to work for them. All right, last one here. Gonzaga has the best defensive team of the Mark Few era. Is that an overreaction, Tyler?
Not really. When I think of Gonzaga, I don't really think of them as being a defensive powerhouse. I kind of think of them having a bunch of offensive players, Adam Morrison, Drew Timme, Kelly Olynyk, and I wouldn't necessarily associate them with being lockdown defenders. But this, obviously this year's team, much better defensive team, and they have a lot of guys that can get out and pressure you. When I saw the Oklahoma game the other night, I think they held Oklahoma just 5 assists, which is big time, says a lot about their defense. But yeah, probably the best defensive team in the Mark Few era, which isn't that impressive.
Damn.
Not to knock Mark Few.
No, I agree. I don't think about
Yeah.
defense when I think about Gonzaga. You know what I mean? Like, all due respect, it's just not really how they win games.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at like defensive ratings, like when I'm looking at the defensive ratings on KenPom, I'm like, Gonzaga kind of sticks out to me. I'm like, it's weird. What's that doing there? So right now, this is for sure the best team he's had. You're not used to seeing Gonzaga as a top 10 rated defense. I don't care if it's game 1 or game 30. They're just not in that mix. So maybe it could be a new leaf, man. I'm a defensive guy, man. And you might need to, turn over and be a defensive squad. Maybe, he can get over that hump. Per se that he has of taking it, winning a championship.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa State out here scoring 100. Gonzaga's a defense first team. I mean, it's just college basketball. It's everything is getting turned on its head. We got
It's
a lot more
early.
to
It's
come here.
early.
It is. I mean, I remember. I was like, we were talking about it earlier. I remember doing a show, and that's the kind of the funniness and the wackiness of doing these shows in November. I remember we came on one night, and Pitt had hit a buzzer beater to go to 7-1 against against Ohio State, and like Pitt sucked. Like by the time the season was over, it was like Pitt wasn't even relevant to the tournament. So some of this stuff it's not real at all. It's a complete funhouse mirror, but that's the beauty of it. We get to find out as the season goes on. We got a lot more to get to here on After Dark. We got a little bit of an interview snippet with Yaxel Lendeborg. The full interview will be tomorrow on the channel here, but we'll have a snippet with him, Michigan big man, tonight. I've got Michigan as my champ. I think John had Michigan in the Final Four, right?
I think so. I believe so. I got to
Yeah.
look at that. I think I did. Yeah.
I think we were the only two brave souls that had Michigan in the last four. So we'll get to a little bit of that and more. You're watching Field of 68 After Dark.
We all know the Players Era Festival has become the best field in all of college basketball. And you have the opportunity to win a VIP trip to the Players Era Festival in Las Vegas, thanks to our partners over at BetMGM. Here's how it works. Opt into the contest and start placing bets on any sport of at least $10 with plus 100 odds or greater. When you do that, you earn leaderboard points based on the bet's odds and the amount that you wager. The more you bet, the higher the odds, the more points that you earn. The top players in that contest are going to win a prize package that includes tickets to the games, withdrawable funds for travel, a 4-night stay at the luxurious Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas, and more. For the full list of prizes, look in the description below. Make the tournament legendary with BetMGM. Vegas is calling. You gonna answer?
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, presented by BetMGM. It's Overreaction Monday. We're going to have the afters here in just a moment. John Martin joined tonight by two Tar Heels, John Henson and Tyler Hansbrough. It wasn't a Monday that will be remembered in the history books in college basketball. Tomorrow, however, is a certified banger Tuesday in college basketball with some like legit, Final Four preview type games, honestly. So let's work our way down the list, gentlemen, starting with the Commonwealth, Kentucky, Louisville. I mean, this is about as good as it's going to get, for November, November 11th on the college basketball slate. I believe Louisville is out to a 4-point favorite, John Henson.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting up there. What do you make of this matchup?
I love the points for Kentucky. Kentucky was a team that I think, healthy is a team I like to win the national championship. Louisville, too, though, they've impressed me with their offensive continuity, their shooters. They've got the talent. They've got the size. They've got the money. I think this game, personally, a rivalry game, it's a toss-up. I'm going to lean Louisville, but I'm going to take the points if I'm a betting man with Kentucky. I think from a matchup perspective, they have the firepower to stick with Louisville, and also quiet as kept, Kentucky's a top 5 defensive team right now rated. So I don't think we're talking about that enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, Kentucky's number one at KenPom, and they're 11 spots above Louisville right now.
Yeah.
But as you guys know, when you have that home court going, I mean, it can be a huge difference maker. Tyler, what do you think about this one?
I think I'm going to go Louisville, and the reason I say that is just because it's a home game for them, and I think that this matchup, there's been a lot of noise about this, and Louisville's back. I mean, Pat Kelsey has turned that program around, and they're bringing their rival into the Yum Center, and I think it's going to be electric, and I think Louisville's going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of just seen this in college basketball earlier this year, right? Like, you guys were watching Kansas, North Carolina. Kansas comes out, probably play as well as they could possibly be expected to play in that first half, and then second half just got the water turned off. Kind of same that you saw with Arkansas and Michigan State. Like, it's early in the season, you go on the road, it's hard to pull these off. Not saying that it can't happen, right? I'm not saying that it can't happen. Kentucky's obviously got a ton of talent, but they're also not whole yet. And so, I think that all matters. So it should be an absolutely awesome game tomorrow. All right, moving right along. Texas Tech and Illinois. Illinois also has some injury issues. Tomislav Ivicic not expected to play in this one. I believe they are a 4-point favorite as well, John Henson. What do you think of this game?
Who is tough because on their home court, they're banged up. I think Ty Rodgers is going to be out, and Stojakovic may be out, and another guard, Petrovic. So, they do have the depth, but they're banged up right now. And
Yep.
Texas Tech,
they're kind of banged up too, right? I mean, they've been dealing with it as well.
Yep. So I'm going to go early. I'll go home court. Fight Illinois. I think this is the time for them. This is what the fans want. We've been waiting for national relevancy. I feel like every year we give it to them. I remember 2 years ago in the Garden when I think they played against Duke or they beat someone. I was like, oh my God, now it's championship contenders, and they laid an egg. So before I give them their props, I want them to win a big time game. I'm going to lean Illinois for now. With Texas Tech kind of banged up and on the road for their first game.
Yeah, I think you're thinking about that Duke game last year with Cooper Flag, right?
Yep.
They lost by a billion. Yeah, that
was 2 years ago in the Garden. I forget who it was. I don't know. I think it was Michigan. I'm not sure, but I thought they were looking really good. And they just did.
Does Illinois get it done at home, Tyler?
I think they do. I think Boswell's playing at a high level, a lot of different options. And I'm going to lean Illinois just because it's a home game for them. And, there's a lot of buzz around Illinois, especially this year. I think they brought in a lot of weapons, and I think they're going to take it.
Yeah, it's always interesting, too. Is like, I mean, I assume, again, everybody's numbers are like, you don't know who to believe, like who's bullshit and who's telling the truth. But, like, I assume Texas Tech has the highest NIL budget, right? I mean, to bring JT Toppin back, that cost $3 to $4 million. Like, so feels like that this should be a game, even though it's on the road, like with the money that they spent, if they have guys in, like they should be live in the game, as a dog with the points maybe. But again, I think early in the season, college, home court is just so damn important. All right. Go ahead. You have a thought on that, John?
No. I agree. I think Boswell's a guy that, I mean, he's a boy, right? He's been playing well. I think this is a game for him to announce that he's on the scene. So shout out to him. I saw him in Turks and Caicos this summer. You know what I mean? Hey, he's having a good time in the NIL money, boy.
That's crazy. Yeah,
man.
Like, is there just like a spot that everybody goes to in Turks and Caicos, bro?
Yeah,
like,
he was at Seashore Lounge, man, hanging out. I could barely go to freaking Cheesecake Factory, Tyler. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so shout out to NIL, man.
Tyler speechless.
Missed out on it, man. I missed out on it.
Yeah, you did, man. You did, but you're still the mayor,
too.
though. You're still the mayor at Chapel Hill. It's like your NIL just got delayed a little bit. It was like equity.
I'm still eating cheesecake. I'm with John on this.
Yeah. All right. Creighton-Gonzaga. It's the best defensive team that Mark Few has ever had. That's tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN. I had to break down tonight. Tonight was like my last straw. I've been, protesting. with YouTube TV. I had to break down and do it tonight. So I got the new ESPN app while they figure that all out. This is going to be on ESPN, John. Gonzaga, a big favorite in this one. I'm not used to seeing Creighton as a double-digit underdog here, but this is where we are.
I think McDermott was concerned about toughness against South Dakota. He said they lacked it, and he was a little nervous. Now they're going up to the kennel against a team as physical as they'll probably see this year with Ike and Grant Foster and Worley and Huff. So I can understand why they're big favorites. I'm going to go here Gonzaga to roll. I think this is a game that Creighton could be in trouble. If you look how Gonzaga played against the previous teams that they won against OU, it's good luck to Creighton. McDermott's probably staying up late at night trying to figure out how he's going to get his guys to rally and show some toughness in the next 12 hours.
Tyler?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Gonzaga on this one. I just think that Gonzaga is a tougher team. They're deep this year. And, that Tyon Grant Foster coming off the bench, he's a long athletic guard. He does a lot of different things. And then, they're big for Gonzaga as a force down low. I think Gonzaga takes this.
We've got a little bit of a snippet of an interview with Yaxel Lendeborg that we'll get to in just a minute. He's in action tomorrow. Wake Forest taking on Michigan. Johnny Henson's got Michigan in the Final Four. I've got Michigan cutting down the nets. Honestly, I wanted to be a little different. I do like them. I do think they can win it all. But everybody in our fucking group chat was picking Houston or Purdue. So it's like, we got to mix this up a little bit, John. But I'd like to see Steve Forbes, get this thing really rolling again at Wake Forest. I think he's a really good coach, and that job is probably not exactly easy. What are you expecting tomorrow in this one?
I mean, I got Michigan going to the Final Four, so I'm gonna take them to win against Wake Forest. They've got the size, they've got the versatility, they've got the play style. Even Cadeau has kind of gave him a little different pop offensively, man, which he did last year at Carolina per se. I got a lot of criticism, but he pushed the ball and he's got good energy and good flow. So I'm rolling Michigan, man, until told otherwise. I think they're really good.
Yeah. Professor Hansbrough.
Yeah, this isn't a shocker. I'm going Michigan on this one. I just think they're bigger and they have more depth. And I'm interested also in Elliot Cadeau, see what he does at Michigan. I know that, he's a big player at UNC, transferred. And I want to see how he improves under Dusty May and what his system, what he looks like this year. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Michigan is a 15.5-point favorite. So it's a tall order for the Demon Deacons in this one. There is no question about it at Little Caesars Arena. All right, we've got a little bit of a snippet. The full interview will be tomorrow with Yaxel Lendeborg, the UAB transfer now at Michigan, obviously going to be in the race for Player of the Year. This is a snippet of that conversation with Jeff and Rob. Take a listen.
We were down there talking to your former coach at UAB, Andy Kennedy, recently, and he raves about you and your story, kind of where you came from. I don't think a lot of people know your story, Axel, and maybe even dating back to your early high school days. You weren't eligible, but let's go back to kind of even your upbringing, right? Born in Puerto Rico, moved to, I think, Ohio when you were young, and then ended up moving to Jersey. Take us back a little bit if you can.
Yeah, well, my mom had me in college at the time. She went to the American University in Puerto Rico. She finished out school, got her master's degree, and then we moved over to Dominican Republic for a year or two, then went to Ohio. When I got to Ohio, I picked up baseball, tried basketball, football, soccer, all the sports my mom put me in, honestly. Some time goes on, I started taking baseball a lot more serious because my grandfather. Then, sadly, he passed away a little later on, kind of took me away from the scene of sports for a little while. Then right before I turned 9, we moved over to New Jersey. I go stay with my cousin, Daewoo. He actually plays at Loyola Chicago right now. But yeah, so I get there, he's a big basketball guy. We're a big basketball family. So now it's like coming along a little bit more, I'm playing in the backyard with him, having fun. But it's never nothing too serious, but, then we get to New Jersey. I'm playing basketball a lot. Get to school, don't really play school basketball, school baseball, anything. I'm just, student. You just going day by day. The senior year of high school comes along. I play half of the season because of I guess we tried to get a waiver. It didn't work. I was doing really bad in school as well, so I couldn't really play even if I wanted to. But I finally was able to get eligible second half of the season and got to play those 11 games. It was a good experience. It was fun, but it wasn't really nothing that would be detrimental to my life. It was just play with my friends because we can for the last year, and that was it.
So you went to Camden County Community College, right? While you were a student at Pennsauken to be able to get what you needed to get done to be able to get eligible to play, which is like I can't imagine going to school 2 different times to be able to get yourself eligible to play for all of 11 games. That's the wild part to me about it, is you be able to make it and catch the eye of a junior college all the way out in Arizona in 11 games.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation. I had to take the transit bus because my mom had work, so she couldn't take me over there. So it was humbling. It was a very nice, weird, nice situation, I guess you can say. But after those 11 games, I didn't really have any attention from anybody. It wasn't until my mom forced me to go to like a Dominican camp near New York. And I didn't want to go, obviously, but my cousin was going, so it was like I'll go because he's there. So we get there, we're just playing against each other, talking smack, and at the end of like that day, there was a coach that was talking to my mom supposedly, and I didn't know anything about it. Apparently, my mom was in contact with the coach for like a month, and then with like 2 weeks remaining, my mom just says like, "You're going to Arizona," and it's like, what are you talking about? I'm not going nowhere, and there I was 2 weeks later on a plane in Arizona.
That was again just a snippet of a longer conversation that we'll post tomorrow here on the channel. And again, I got the perfect guys. When we're talking about Yaxel Lendeborg, because you guys are both bigs. I got 2 bigs with me tonight, and I know it's a guards game, but when you can throw Morez Johnson, Yaxel Lendeborg, Adai Mara at, how good do your guards really even need to be at that point? That's obviously they need to be good, and Elliot Cadeau is he's got a pretty good situation here with those 3. But like, who is doing anything with that trio, John? Like, it just feels impossible to defend all 3 of those dudes.
Yeah, just clicking on all cylinders. It's not much you can do. Just better hope they have an off night, right? Foul trouble, something like that. But when those guys are out there, it's going to be tough. And just hearing a little bit of his story, man, it makes me like him even more, man. Just like that opportunity he sees, and now look at him, one of the most coveted players in the country in the NIL portal, and a potential pro, high level pro at that.
Yeah. Tyler, does it warm your heart to see like that throwback style with so many bigs, man? The game just shifts to 3-pointers, and Michigan just has nothing but bigs on the court.
Well, listen, man, size matters. And if you want to win, you got to have size. And everyone says positional size. That's a new cool phrase everybody's using. I haven't seen a small team that doesn't control the boards or doesn't have a good quality big man hoist any trophies. But much respect to him. Incredible story. And gained a lot of respect, so I'm pulling for him.
All right. Before we get to the afters, it is time for toast of the night. John, you want to get us started? You're already on the vino.
It was a tough night. I'm gonna probably steal somebody's and go Ripsey from Iowa State. He's really the only guy that we could talk about tonight. That 25 points, 9 of 17 shooting, 6 assists, 52% from the field. Cheers to him, kind of coming in and taking the reins of this game, and it looked kind of easy out there for him. Man. He's looking like All-American, man.
Yeah, take that. Tyler, what you got?
I'm going to go Herb Sendek, head coach for Santa Clara. Went over to Xavier.
Nice. Hell of a
played
name.
against him when he was coach at NC State, but big win for him tonight, so he gets my toast.
Love it, man. Yep, very, very nice win.
Herb.
I'm going to go with Charleston Southern's Bryson Blaine. This stat from Jared Burson, who is a great follow for like these random college basketball performances. Bryson Blaine in a win tonight at the Citadel had 42 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. And according to Jared, he's the only player with at least 40 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 8 threes in a Division I game over the last 30 years. So that is a hell of a night at the office for Bryson Blaine. Yeah, I mean,
what's the
eligibility clock looking like?
About to get paid.
Does it even matter? Like we're like college basketball is recruiting dudes that play in the G League now, so it doesn't even matter. Man.
I think I talked to Adam Finkelstein today. I think there's something like the most, I think 3 or 4 stars ever are committed to mid majors now because no one else recruiting them anymore.
Yes.
So
yeah, no, the way that this sport has changed is just absolutely. Because like there's a kid, and we're gonna get to the afters, but there's a kid that is from Memphis. He's a 4-star kid. He committed to Memphis, and he chose Memphis over like Murray State and Texas State and like those levels of schools. And for the first time ever in my head, I'm like, brother, you probably were better off going to Texas State than going to Memphis because you're not going to play at Memphis. You're going to get recruited over by the older transfers, and then you're going to be looking around like, what do? I have no tape. It's tough.
And a lot of these mid-major schools, they have some funds to give you. Like it's not if Memphis is not going to slate on playing him, they're probably not giving him that much more money. So a lot of kids are taking the opportunity and the money, and then it's kind of like a G League kind of JUCO route, but you're still playing D1. So super intriguing, man.
No, that's the way you got to do it, man. The way you got to do it now is like get a bag, as much of a bag as you can at a lower level school, and just kind of work your way up that ladder, man. I mean, that's the that's the best way for you. All right, we're gonna get to the afters. Again, for John Henson, for Tyler Hansbrough, I'm John Martin. We're gonna see you in the afters here after dark.
We're live. It's the afters. Hit the chat.
I'm not getting close to any bear.
My career high on the court is 28.
This is the afters on Monday, November the 10th. John Henson, Tyler Hansbrough, John Martin. All right, Dagan, what you got for us tonight, man?
Guys, tonight, first we did some preview. John, we'll let you talk your hometown team. Memphis takes on Ole Miss tomorrow. Kind of gets lost in that crazy slate. So let's talk about that game a little bit.
Yeah, so Ole Miss is like shooting the shit out of it in the first couple of games. Like I think they have like 3 or 4 guys that are shooting, 40% or better. Maybe it's even more than that. But like they have just shot the hell out of the ball early on. And Ole Miss owes Memphis. Memphis beat them pretty good at FedEx Forum last year. And it's very rare to see Memphis as a 9.5 point dog to anybody, but they are tomorrow night. And I just, I don't know, fellas. Like, Doug McDaniel, Aaron Bradshaw, talent's there, but I'm just not sure how it's going to come together against a real team like Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss probably handles business tomorrow. I would lay it with Ole Miss before I played Memphis. Although Penny has been very good in these spots. I will say that, like UConn last year in Maui, he's like an 8-9 point dog. So I don't know where you guys at on this one.
He ain't no PJ Harity walking through that door, though. I'll tell you that. So
that's true.
Yeah. Because he was kind of the breakout star of that whole
He
thing.
was. And Tyrese Hunter too. Don't forget him. I mean, he was making all kinds of shots in Maui.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. Beard and Ole Miss kind of not talked about a lot. They've been playing well, shooting the hell out of the ball. This could be a humbling experience. humbling bus ride. Are they taking the bus, John? Is that the bus, right? You take the bus
Yeah, I
down
think
there,
that's a bus ride. I do. I would have to imagine that's a bus. It's not. It's only like an hour
Ain't nothing
drive.
worse than a
So.
bus ride after ass whooping, man. So hopefully they go down there and put up a fight. So, but I'm going Ole Miss.
Hey, Tyler, how big are these like revenge spots? Like and I'm not. This is a 1 game a year series. You don't play them twice, but like, how big is that in the time of like portal? Where like there may not even be guys on either team that were a part of it a year ago.
Yeah, you're talking about the rivalries kind of dying off. That's one worry I have with everybody transferring out is, how are we going to maintain these, Duke, North Carolina, and some of these other rivals, Kentucky, Louisville, when guys have only been there for a year or two. That's a worry I have. Yeah, it's guys have lost pride in the university just basically from transferring from schools like, 4 schools in 4 years. How could you really feel like you've been part of something great if you've only been there for a quick stop or a year?
Yeah, it is because I saw a video where you were talking about like your favorite memory was like beating Duke. He's as a freshman. It wasn't winning a title; it was beating Duke there.
Yeah.
It is just
Yeah.
like
Listen,
as a
I
freshman.
agree. Like my favorite memory is beating Duke for the ACC championship my sophomore year. When we were picked 8th in the league, and we ended up winning. That was nice. So
That's
I like
crazy
that anymore now.
you were on a North Carolina team that was picked 8th in the league.
We went to
bro.
the NIT the previous year.
That is so nuts.
Yeah, bro.
I would have
That
never
was a
guessed
good
that was possible. So yeah, I think Ole Miss handles business, but you know what? Penny has surprised me before, and I'm sure he will do it again. All right, Dagan, what's next?
All right, fellas. At Stormy Cyclone in the chat wants to know, will a Big 12 team on the number 1 spot come January?
I guess it's possible. Houston, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be the obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it's possible, right? If you Houston, Iowa State, maybe. I don't know if Iowa State's going to catch it, but Houston, I think, could be the team that sits at the top towards January. It's not far fetched.
Yeah,
It's not
I think you're
overreaction.
I think you're talking about like Houston, Louisville will have a chance, right? BYU will have a chance. I honestly believe. They're just kind of like beating the shit out of everybody, and I know they haven't played anybody yet, really. I mean, although Villanova on a neutral was a nice win. But what about you, Tyler? You think a Big 12 team will have the top spot by January?
If they do, it'll be Houston. That's the only option I really see. I think Houston has potential. I also picked them to win the whole thing, so I hope it's Houston.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see how real this Iowa State team is, and if they can stay healthy. They look damn good tonight. I'll say that against an SEC team. Maybe Mississippi State will be down, but man, 96.
That is true.
Yeah. I mean,
pseudo home game though. There's a little bit of a cheat.
It was.
I don't know if Mississippi State thought that Iowa State was going to pack that thing out. That was impressive.
Yes, no question about it.
Should just went up to Hilton and call it a day.
Exactly. Get the home game revenue.
Yeah,
is that it? Is that going to
get some road? So,
that's right.
Is
that a wrap, Dagan? All right. Well, thanks for being with us here on Monday, November 10th, as we prepare for an absolute banger of a college basketball day tomorrow. Top 25 matchups all over the place. For John Henson, for Tyler Hansbrough, I'm John Martin. Thanks for kicking it with us on a Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow night.